what's up? My name is Rob, and I'm the founder and creator of Think There Is No Ceiling. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here, for tuning in to the third episode now on Think TV. And today's episode, it's about passion. It's about being in alignment with passion so that you can direct your purpose. So I'm going to share with you something real quick. Just a simple analogy that I use, or that I've used in the past and I share with others to help them distinguish the difference between purpose and passion, but also how they support each other. So picture a hot air balloon that's floating in the air, and that hot air balloon is being supplied or being lifted by the flame, by the fire, by the heat. The heat's causing it to rise, and the person in the basket is you and I, controlling that flame, controlling that heat, and really essentially controlling where that balloon ends up, where it travels to. So that's the analogy that I like to use to pretty much put it in this little frame, to put it in this simple way of understanding that our purpose in life is given by us. We give ourselves direction. We tell ourselves, or our destiny, or our future, or whatnot. We plant the seeds by giving it direction. And by giving it direction, we fuel it with our passion. And our passion is something that's burning within. It's always going, but we can turn it down and we can raise up the heat. We can slow it down, adjust the weights, or we could just let it go and let it flow and just, it'll end up wherever it ends up, drifting. But nonetheless, it's controlled by us. It's controlled by us. And what it really comes down to is tapping in to your passion. Like, what is your passion? What is your fire? What burns you within? What lights you up? What fuels your heart? What pumps you up? What makes you want to wake up every morning? So I'm going to share with you some simple little techniques that I use. And keep in mind, there are an infinite amount of techniques, an infinite amount of exercises that you can use to help you discover your passion, which ultimately will lead you to your purpose. All right, so I'm going to share with you a few different things that I used. It might make sense, it might not. But here it goes. I was reading books nonstop every single day, doing other things like training jiu-jitsu, cooking food. I was engaged in life, trying all these different little activities. And I was told to look at all these different activities that I do every single day and really take a look at where I lose myself, where I lose a sense of time, where I lose a sense of, am I here, am I not? Basically a sense of time, right? So, I love to cook. I love to train jiu-jitsu, which is a form of martial arts. I love to weight train, I love to run, and I love to read books. So, like, all these different little facets that I was contributing my efforts and time, my passion to, I was just like, wow, I don't know which one to choose from. But something within kept pulling me over and over again. It was pulling me towards, like, the education, the books, like what I was reading about. And I was really, and I still am, but I was infatuated with the mind, like how the mind works, how the universe works, how we work, and basically just how I can become a deliberate creator, a master creator. I was obsessed with this. And, every single time I would look at jiu-jitsu, every time I would look at cooking, I would always be pulled back to the books. What was I reading? So I took a look at what I was reading, books by Napoleon Hill, Andrew Carnegie, Nikola Tesla, all these different authors, constantly just reading and feeding my mind with this stuff. And, for a while I was resisting this because I thought, how can I create a purpose that would be fueled by this passion of reading? Like, it made no sense. And so, I let it go. I let my ego go around this. And I started focusing more on, what exactly was it that made me like to read, or that basically fueled my passion to read this stuff. Like, what was it that was causing this infatuation? And I realized that it had everything to do with breaking the barriers, like really just transcending this reality and really creating your own reality that you wanted. Like, that was what intrigued me. That was what drove me to be obsessed about this. Like, wow, like we really have this control. And so right around that time, I was reading some book, and in this book, it said, if you're trying to find your purpose in life, start looking at what you're doing for fun. I was like, whoa, this is perfect. And then some other exercise said, hey, look at the movies you've watched in your lifetime. And so I started taking a look at all the movies I started watching, or that I've watched throughout my life. And I went by the instructions in this book, and it said, jot down what inspired you, or what moved you, what emotionally triggered, something inside of you, whether it was anger, whether it was love, whether it was inspiration or happiness or whatever, whether you cried or not. And so I started writing down all these different movies that I watched throughout my lifetime. And, I started with Braveheart, and then 300, Gladiator was in there. Most recently, The Free State of Jones, and that was just, more validation of what I was doing already. But all these different movies were popping up that had everything to do with freedom, that had everything to do with rising up and, oppression, and really standing up for what you believe in. All sorts of movies, and those are just a few that are standing out to me right now. But these movies stood out, where I remember being in the theater or being at home watching them, and my eyes tearing up like, whoa, I hope he wins. I hope he defeats this. I hope he rises up. Like, I really hope so. Like, I was always rooting for that. And so I realized that there was a lot of value in that. There was a lot of inspiration that came from those scenes and from basically those themes in the movies, where I just love humanity, and I love freedom, and I respect freedom, and I respect human rights, to where I realized that, wow, this is what I'm passionate about. I love this. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm willing to die for this. And I know this might be a little extreme, like, whoa, I don't want to die for my passion, but I'm just telling you my perspective. Like, that's how passionate I am about what I'm teaching and what I'm sharing and what I'm building. It basically rooted from that, from those experiences, and being able to recognize and acknowledge those experiences. So, I took note of all that, and I started putting it all together, and I said, well, what's next? What do I do next? I have my passion, and I see like what inspires me and what moves me. Like, what do I do next? How do I create a purpose out of this? This makes no sense. And so I wrote down this affirmation. It literally moved through me. I channeled this, but essentially it said that my purpose, my reason for existence, is to master myself, master my mind, and to help men, women, and children alike, to help master their own minds and master their own selves, and to help them create a reality they love, to help create a life they love. I knew zip about what I was writing. I didn't know anything that I was writing. I was like, whoa, this sounds good, but I don't know what it means. 6 months later, think. There Is No Ceiling came about. 6 months later after that, so a year later, that's when I first made my first post on Instagram. And then the rest is history. I've just been building it as I go, feeding off of my intention, feeding from the passion, and then just letting it direct. So I'm sharing this with you because this is what I did to get me to where I'm at now. I looked at my past. I looked at what inspired me, what fueled me, what lit me up. Like, that's what I was paying attention to. What lit me up? What aroused me emotionally? So I suggest, or I invite you to take a look at, what is it that sparks that emotion? Like, what is it that triggers that anger? What is it that triggers that happiness or those tears? What makes you cry? What makes you in tune? What makes you forget where you are, or where you're at, and what you're doing? Really tap into that. That's the gold. That is the gold. I promise you that. So thank you for tuning in. This is about passion and purpose. Make sure you subscribe to Think TV. Make sure you go to Instagram. If you're not following Instagram, it's THINC_, and follow my account. I guarantee you'll find something that's gold there and meaningful to you there. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.